Hello Gadget Mania, still with me again with Mandesa. In this video I will discuss the latest cell phone from the Xiaomi brand again. From this brand, namely the Redmi Note 10 series. There are 4 variants that have been released globally, namely Redmi Note 10, Note 10 Ace, Note 10 5G, and Note 10 Pro. And before we start, as usual, click the like and subscribe button so that I can be more excited about making the following videos. Previously, there was a product called the name Orbit Star 2 modem, the Huawei brand free 50GB. Can be used at home that has not been reached by Wi-Fi and can be used outside the home. A place to relax, etc. That important things is the Telkomsel network and can be connected to several cell phones. For the internet, the cake is quite affordable from 10GB price 20,000 rupiah to 100GB price 150,000 rupiah as needed. If interested, I have prepared in my description below this video for a link to purchase this modem in e-commerce online shop stores in Indonesia, such as Shopee, Lazada, Tokopedia, Bukalapak, Blibli, and Jd.id. Price for the modem start 600,000 rupiah to 700,000 rupiah. Okay, let's just discuss the latest Pro cell phone from the Redmi brand, namely the Redmi Note 10 series. Check it out. The Xiaomi brand has announced their latest mobile phone in China on March 4, 2021, and it will be released on March 16, 2021 in China as well. A successor to the Redmi Note 9 series mobile phone, namely the Redmi Note 10 series, and those released globally, including to Indonesia, have 4 variants, namely Redmi Note 10, Redmi Note 10 Ace, Redmi Note 10 5G, and Redmi Note 10 Pro. Here I review the specification and price of each of the 4 Redmi Note 10 series units. Before that, I apologize because this video is a bit long because it discusses 4 variants of this cell phone and also some of the difference between the 4 units of this cell phone. In the first performance section, namely the Redmi Note 10 used the Qualcomm Snapdragon 678 chipset, which runs on an 11nm fabrication, which is combined with technology RAM LPDDR4X, only 4GB and 6GB, and internal storage with UFS 2.2 technology with a capacity of 64GB and 128GB. With an octa-core 2.3 GHz processor and Adreno 612 as its GPU. The Redmi Note 10 Ace used the MediaTek Helio G95 chipset, which runs on a 12nm fabrication, which is combined with 6GB and 8GB RAM technology LPDDR4X, well as internal storage with UFS 2.2 technology with a capacity of 64GB and 128GB. With an octa-core 2.05 GHz processor and Mali G76MC4 as its GPU. The Redmi Note 10 5G used the MediaTek Dimensity 700 5G chipset, which run on a 7nm fabrication, which is combined with technology RAM LPDDR4X, 4GB and 6GB only, as well as internal storage with UFS 2.2 technology with a capacity of 64GB and 128GB, with an octa-core 2.2 GHz processor and Medi G57 MC2 as its GPU. And the highest variant, the Redmi Note 10 Pro, use the Qualcomm Snapdragon 732G chipset, which runs on a 8nm fabrication, which is combined with 6GB and 8GB RAM technology LPDDR4X, as well internal storage with UFS 2.2 technology with a capacity of 64GB and 128GB, with an octa-core 2.3 GHz processor and Adreno 618 as its GPU. And the operating system for these 4 mobile units use Android 11 with MIUI 12 as the interface. On the screen, the Redmi Note 10 and Redmi Note 10 Ace both use a 6.43-inch Super AMOLED screen, and the screen brightness reaches 100 nits. For Redmi Note 10 5G, use a 6.5-inch IPS LCD type screen with a refresh rate of 90 Hz. The Redmi Note 10 Pro use a 6.67-inch AMOLED type screen with a 120 Hz refresh rate and XDR10. For resolution, aspect ratio, and screen protection for both Redmi Note 10, Note 10 Ace, Note 10 5G, and Note 10 Pro, they are the same, namely Full HD Plus resolution 2400 by 1080 pixels and aspect ratio of 20:9, and the screen is protected by Corning Gorilla Glass 3. And for the 4 cell phone units, all have selfie camera with a pencil shape, which is located right in the middle of the top, with a camera resolution, namely for Redmi Note 10 and Note 10 Ace, the camera resolution is 13 megapixel wide lens, and the Redmi Note 10 5G has a wide lens 8 megapixel resolution, while the Redmi Note 10 Pro has a wide lens 16 megapixel resolution. And for the rear camera of the Redmi Note 10 and Note 10 Ace, there is a quad camera. For Redmi Note 10, the main camera uses a wide lens 48 megapixel resolution lens only, while the Note 10s main camera resolution is 64 megapixel wide lens. Then the other 3 cameras, both Note 10 and Note 10s, are the same, namely 8 megapixel wide aperture lens with a 180 degrees angle, 2 megapixel macro lens, and 2 megapixel depth lens. Then the Redmi Note 10 Pro has a quad camera with a main camera using the Samsung ISOCELL HM2 sensor with a 108 megapixel resolution, dual pixel PIF aperture lens, 8 megapixel wide aperture lens with a 180 degree angle, 5 megapixel macro lens AF lens, and 2 megapixel depth lens. And for the Redmi Note 10 5G, only a triple camera, namely the main camera with a resolution of 48 megapixel wide lens, 2 megapixel macro lens, and 2 megapixel depth lens. And for mobile units for video recording reach 4K at 30 frames per second. For the size of cell phone, both the Note 10 and Note 10s are the same, namely the length and width as seen on screen, with a thickness of 8.3 mm and weight 178.8 grams. The size of the Redmi Note 10 5G mobile phone is long and wide as shown on the screen, with a thickness of 8.9 mm and weight 190 grams. Then the size of the Redmi Note 10 Pro mobile phone, length and width as shown on the screen, with a thickness of 8.1 mm and weighs 193 grams. For the battery, both the Note 10 and Note 10s are both equipped with a 5000 mAh capacity battery with a 33 watts fast charging. Then the Redmi Note 10 5G equipped with a capacity battery 5000 mAh with a 18 watt fast charging. Meanwhile, the Redmi Note 10 Pro is equipped with a battery with a capacity of 5020 mAh with a 63 watt fast charging. For Redmi Note 10 color choice, there are three variants, namely onyx gray, pebble white, and light green. And the Redmi Note 10 Ace has a three color choice to ocean blue, onyx gray, and pebble white. Then for the Redmi Note 10 5G, there are four color choice, namely chrome silver, graphite gray, nighttime blue, and aurora green. And for the Redmi Note 10 Pro, there are three color choice, namely onyx gray, glacier blue, and gradient bronze. The features of this mobile phone include only specifically for Redmi Note 10 5G, which already has a 5G network. For Redmi Note 10, Note 10 Ace, and Note 10 Pro, the network is still 4G. Stereo speaker or dual speaker, dual band Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.0, NFC or near field communication, infrared port. The USB dari cable is Type-C 2.0. To open the screen using the fingerprint system on the right side of the cell phone body, and there is face unlock. The SIM uses a dedicated dual SIM type, active nano SIM slot, and is accompanied by additional external memory. The price for these four mobile units are as follows. There are three variants for Redmi Note 10, namely the first variant 4GB RAM, 64GB storage in America, price $199 United States dollar or the equivalent of 2,800,000 rupiah in Indonesia. The second variant of 4GB RAM, 128GB storage in America is priced $229 United States dollar or the equivalent of 3,200,000 rupiah in Indonesia. The third variant with 8GB RAM, 128GB storage in America, price $279 United States dollar of the equivalent of 3,900,000 rupiah in Indonesia. For the price of the Redmi Note 10s, there are also three variants, namely the first variant 6GB RAM, 64GB storage in America, price $229 United States dollar or for the equivalent of 3,200,000 rupiah in Indonesia. The second variant of RAM 6GB storage, 128GB in America price, 249 United States dollar, or the equivalent of 3,500,000 rupiah in Indonesia. The suite variant with the 8GB RAM, 128GB storage in America price, 279 United States dollar, or the equivalent of 3,900,000 rupiah in Indonesia. For the price of the Redmi Note 10 5G cell phone, there are two variants, namely the first variant 4GB RAM, 64GB storage in America price, 199 United States dollar, or the equivalent of 2,800,000 rupiah in Indonesia. The second variant of 4GB RAM, 128GB storage in America is priced 229 United States dollar, or the equivalent of 3,200,000 rupiah in Indonesia. Finally, the price of the Redmi Note 10 Pro mobile phone has three variants, namely the first variant 6GB RAM, 64GB storage in America, the price 279 United States dollar, of the equivalent of 3,900,000 rupiah in Indonesia. Second variant RAM 6GB storage, 128GB in America price, 299 United States dollar, of the equivalent of 4,200,000 rupiah in Indonesia. The third variant with 8GB RAM, 128GB storage in America price, 329 United States dollar, or the equivalent of 4,600,000 rupiah in Indonesia. If there is information about this cell phone when it will enter Indonesia, I will make video update. Okay, Kizmania, I think that's now for my review regarding the latest cell phone from the Redmi brand. The Xiaomi sub-brand, namely the Redmi Note 10 series, has been released globally, namely Redmi Note 10, Note 10 Ace, Note 10 5G, and Note 10 Pro. Hopefully useful. Finally, thank you for watching this video, and don't forget to click the like and subscribe button so that I can be even more excited. See you in the next video. Thank you. Greetings, Gadget Mania.
See the horizon, turn us to thousands, and we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to